Hey everyone, sorry if you've seen me for a little while not speaking. I couldn't see myself yet on the YouTube return, so I just wanted to wait and make sure that everything was working. Could you first let me know if I'm sounding like a dolphin like the last time, or is everything working fine with the microphone? So, is everyone able to hear me? Oh, okay. Let me see. Okay, Kim, you're telling me that you can hear me, so I guess everything should be good and we should be ready to start. Okay, welcome. Today we'll have a bit of a surprise for everyone, but that will be in between the two fight nights. So we will be starting with the easy and medium as usual. We'll start in pretty much 1 or 2 seconds now. And after this fight, and before we move to the regular hardcore, the advanced hardcore fight night, there will be a little surprise for you, but I won't tell you more until then. So, yeah, without further ado, let's start with the spinning. Everything should be set up, we should be working fine. Yes, and we haven't scorched as the first player as it was expected. So, let's go. Hi, Yusuf. So, how are you doing, folks? It's Valentine's Day today for a lot of people, but I can tell you that this is not the reason why we are starting just a bit later today. Simply, I had some professional meetings that I had to attend, which pretty much meant that I would pretty much have been jumping out of a meeting right into the stream with no delay at all. I preferred to decide to start an hour later simply because I wasn't sure if this meeting would end on time. That's professional meetings. Sometimes you have no clue how long they really are going to last, and also usually before a stream I like to have at least a few minutes so that I can check that everything on the setup is working fine. So yeah, this is why we're starting 1 hour later than usual today. But I can promise that with the next one we should be back on regular schedule. Actually, I'm saying we should. What this means is there's no plan to change to that time on the longer run, but with every stream it can change a little if there's any unforeseen elements like this one where I basically have no choice but to slightly delay it, as you've known so far. Hey Rodrigo, so we have 3 people that joined the chat, which means I can ask you guys if there's anything you would like to discuss today, because quite a few things happened since the last time we discussed. Obviously, we shared with you guys a roadmap for February and March. It's not really big news because it's pretty much stuff that you already knew were planned to happen. Hey, Tsa, welcome. So yeah, you already knew that some of those, all of those things were about to happen in February or March if you've been watching the streams regularly. But the point of this community roadmap is for you guys to keep track of those things, and also because we can share a bit more of the technical elements. Oh, Rodrigo, it's the first time you watch a stream. Well, welcome. I hope you will enjoy the stream. Usually it's pretty chill. I'm mostly trying to focus on granting you guys news about the game, on what is coming next, mostly. But actually, you're in for a treat since it's your first stream, because right now we have on the screen the easy regular fight mode, which is uh, the army that we set up for newcomers or players that are not yet too advanced. Even if, as you can see right now, there are some players that are extremely advanced, or quite advanced, that still like to play in this category. But after this is done, and before we move to the advanced fight nights, which we also call hardcore fight nights sometimes, just in between those two, there will be a teasing of something coming quite soon now. Actually, I didn't even ask for the permission to show you some of those things, so I hope that you will like it. It's nothing too crazy yet, but I hope you will enjoy that. So see, because of you, I'm passing on the opportunity to get some gold by watching an ad, simply because I don't want you to have to suffer from that. Or you signed up for the easy normal modes. Your nickname is Digger. Let me check where you are in the list. Oh, okay, you will be one of the final players will fight. You are in position 38, so you have a bit of time before that. We will see the global red bars. I'm not going to tell you what you're going to see. I can tell you that it's definitely linked to the global red bars, but I cannot tell you yet what you will see or not. Hey, Matt Remar, welcome to the stream. I'm actually quite sure that you will be interested in the little surprise that you will see today, Matt Remar. Starting with this stream and basically linking back to the old tradition that you had in the Traplight days, where Crucible was trying to always show you and tease you what's coming next. I will try to do that more often. I cannot guarantee that it will be there in every stream, because sometimes I simply don't have enough material, and especially in the past few months, you know that we were focusing on a lot of technical stuffs. So now that we are focusing slightly more on actual gameplay, I hope that we will have the opportunity to share some more stuffs with you there. And yes, Matt Remar, there will be a bit of a surprise, because I have some things to show to you guys in between the two fight nights. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so yeah, during the last 2 weeks, we've had the community roadmap, as I was saying. This is something you need to get used to. We will get that shared with the community every 2 months. And this one was the first one, so it was just showing where we stand and what we work on. With the next one, you will see what we will work on at that point, obviously, but you will also get a check on what we planned for the previous roadmap and either got delivered, and if it gets delayed, because that can happen, then we'll try to give you at least a bit of context as to why it got delayed and when is it moved to. Because sometimes we'll tell you, hey, we have this one point we were not able to squeeze in February, March, and so it's pushed to April, May, for example. But maybe we will tell you, hey, we're not able to squeeze that in February, March, but because we have other stuff that we need to release right now, it will be pushed to slightly later or something like this. Obviously, the goal will still be to release all of that within the time frame that we're giving to you, and that's why we are communicating those. In general, I am asked not to share with you elements for which there's too much uncertainty in this community roadmap. That's something I do a bit more in the streams, where I have the opportunity to tell you with my own voice and voice the fact that sometimes there is uncertainty. When you share this as a post that will be copied over and rediscussed in other channels where people will not hear from me the fact that, hey, it's just a tentative deadline, or hey, we're still far from being done with this, it's just pitching you an idea or something like this. If you don't have this element of context, sometimes it can be a bit tricky. That's why in the community roadmap, we'll stick to stuff that are really planned to happen within the 2 months. And for the stream, I have a bit more freedom as to what I can tease or not. So yeah, in the last 2 weeks, we had the community roadmap, but that's not the only thing we've done. As you know, we released one of the elements that was mentioned for months at this point, but was also part of the community roadmap. And this is our new website, which is at the moment very, very basic. But it is a hub that will be used for other games as well. And the interesting part, or the most interesting part, I would say, there are two different things. One is for new players, that means there will be one website on which they can access all the news, they can know all the events that are running, what will be the next one to start when we get close to the release date, and most importantly, they will get one page where they have accesses to all of the social media and the Discord groups, etc. Which you may think, hey, they can see that in game. That's true, but sometimes you just don't think about it when you open the game. And so having that on a website will help a bit there. The other benefit is obviously the web shop. So the web shop at the moment, to be honest, is kind of disappointing, but it's on purpose. Like, it's a technical release. So at the moment, it's just gems offers, and it's pretty close to what you've seen game. There's nothing extra fancy. I can guarantee you that there will be fancy stuffs, because I've seen these kind of web shops run on quite a lot of games in the past, and it's usually a lot of value for the dollar that you put in compared to the in-game stores. Just to clear a few things out there, because I know some players might be wondering about that. There's nothing within Google's or Apple rules that are preventing us from having this website. It's perfectly legal, it's perfectly compliant with all of their rule sets. There's no problem about that. The system that we use for the payments, etc., is well known because it's one of the biggest provider for those kind of services pretty much in the world. So there's no worries about that. And the interesting part with this website and the fact that we have a web shop is that you have parts of the world right now where you cannot use the Apple or Google store. For example, some of our Russian players have no options to make any in-app purchases, even though they can still play the game. So that's one reason. You have some markets that do have Apple and Google app stores running perfectly fine, but on which the app is not available, because our game is not available in every single app stores in the world, because sometimes it's not localized, and sometimes we just don't have someone that can control that specific market. Or for very small markets, like sometimes, you have places that have a market for an area that is so small that all the users are basically using a bigger one. I don't want to tell something wrong there, but I know it was the case for places like the Feroe Islands or those kind of places where it's so tiny that actually a lot of the users directly register themselves to Denmark or to Scotland or anything like this. And because of that, for us, there's no point in having the app and the cost that go with it just for that very small market, because we know that the players from that area will play anyway in setting their stores somewhere else. The problem coming with this is that if you have a player that actually plays from those areas, they will often be potentially screwed in terms of currencies, because the currency rates from Apple and Google, I'm not here to say any bad things about them, but let's just say that they set them up and they will edit them from time to time, and there's not a lot of things we can do about it. So having the web shop allows us to have a bit more bandwidth, a bit more control over that, and it means that in some countries the currency rate will be a lot better for them than what the Apple or Google store are offering. So Kim, you're asking if things will be cheaper. Yes and no. Cheaper in general, yes. I wouldn't necessarily say 30% cheaper, because that's quite steep. I think that's no secrecy, but when you make any purchases on Apple or Google, they take a 30% share. That's a famous number. Any video game that you see in the App Store, 30%. A web shop like this one is not taking necessarily the same rate. I cannot give you the numbers, but it's a different rate, which means that we have indeed some bandwidth to grant cheaper prices. That's why already, even if it's not much, right now the gems offers that you have, they have 5% discount. I would expect, and you will see that with bigger offers, with more bundles, etc., some offers will definitely be quite cheaper. Some offers will be a tiny bit cheaper. I cannot necessarily say if that will go up to 30% or something like this, but definitely one of the benefits is we can have slightly cheaper offers. The other thing is that we can also have offers that are more diverse than what the Apple Store and Google Store are allowing us to do. Long story short, on Apple or Google, you have a certain amount of elements that you can put in a bundle. So that means you cannot have, I don't remember the number, I think it's 5 different elements that you can put. That doesn't mean that you can have only 5. For example, if you put units, you can have 20 or 100 shards if you want of one unit, but you cannot have shards plus gems plus gold plus power stones plus artifacts plus elixir, because you can have only 5 of that, not more than this. Having something like the web shop will allow us to create bundles that don't have this limitation. So that means, for example, just a wild guess, but we could have a season specific package where the season package is actually offering you all the different type of things you might need for a season at a cheaper cost, instead of having to buy them separately through the web shop, through the App Store, sorry, something like this. The other benefit that we have with the web shop is being able to have more price points. Hey, Matrama, yeah, I was actually checking. I thought there was still one, but you seem to be correct, so I will be stopping that right now. Yeah. I actually don't like this username as well, so that's a good thing to stop there. But I see that some people really want to get their surprise, and that's why you jumped on that so fast. Let me just get the rewards going there. Yes. Okay. Now we can move to the other ones. So yeah, as I was saying, to just conclude on the web shop, another thing that it will allow us to do is to have, and that's for me the real benefit, something like a loyalty program, for example. So that means maybe the bundles, etc., that you can buy are a bit cheaper, not insanely cheaper, but a bit cheaper. But the other benefit you would get is you will have, for example, a loyalty event that says, hey, any purchase you're making during that month is going to add up and grant you additional rewards. Or maybe it will be something that goes all year long, and after X amount purchased, you unlock a specific reward, etc. And that's something that is pretty much impossible to do within Google and Apple, because technically we're not supposed to keep or to display the payment history within the app. So we could do something like this, but it would be a bit hidden. So that means we could tell you, hey, you've made X purchases, so we are granting you this specific thing. But you wouldn't see the progress until you went there, which with the web shop we'll be able to display just that, show you, hey, you are pretty much this amount close from unlocking this exclusive skin or whatever that could be. So that's mostly what I wanted to mention. Okay, so I guess there's some impatience there, and some of you want to see some nice stuffs. So do we have a drum roll? I don't have a drum roll sound. Okay. I just want to see in the chat if you're ready for the surprise, or if I should keep the suspense going any longer. Oh, I see the drum roll. Okay. Okay, so let's go then. I hope it's gonna work fine. Okay, so some global red boss teasing. This is some artworks that are going to be part of the event. There's another one that I'm gonna show to you guys in just a second. As I said in the beginning, it's not much, but I wanted to be able to share some of you, especially if you look at this statue on the left, that kind of gives you some ideas of why we said that this global red boss would have several phases, because it seems like it has several heads with several elements linked to it. That's what I could say. And yeah, I also wanted to show you this one because that's looking quite nice, I think. So those are just some artworks that will be part of the event. Just wanted to show that. In 5 seconds, I'm gonna take it out and we'll be back to the game. I hope that at least it's hyping you a little, and that by the next stream, next stream we should probably be able to show you some video of the actual thing being played, and then it will be released. Okay, so back to the game. Yeah, Madrema, you were asking if the thing on the right is the merchant system. No, it's still linked to the global red boss. It's simply that there will be a new character that is linked to this event. But it is very likely that this NPC will be linked to other events going forward. So that could be also linked to the merchant. But I don't think it's set in stone whether that would be that NPC or if there will be a different one. Okay, so let me change the account and we'll be ready to start. But what did you think, guys? Is it looking good? Do you like the art style? Is it hyping you at all, or did I make too much of a deal of this for you guys to enjoy it? Okay, since I don't have answers for that right now, I will basically just start. We should be starting with Draco. Let me see. Yeah, That's good. Hey Rodrigo, yeah, you said that you loved the art style. Well, I loved it, and that's why I decided to put it in there. It could be placeholder graphic as far as you're concerned, so long as means new content is incoming. Okay, next time, I'm gonna just share random AI generated stuffs, and that way everyone will be happy. No, but indeed, the reason why I wanted to share that, even if it's really not much, is because lately um, there's been a lot of things that were delayed. As you know, technically, initially we wanted to have this global red boss released in December. That was what we had in mind in the summer when I started to talk with you guys. And because end of the year is always a bit crazy, it got postponed to January, and we had technical issues that we had to take care of. All of that postponed it. And to me, that means every 2 weeks when we talk together there, or every day when we talk together on Discord, I had the feeling that I was just sharing empty promises, up until now. And so it's a relief for me to be able to release this as well as the website, because it's the same. The website, I really wanted to share some details with you, but the problem is with the website, because there was a web shop attached to it, legally I was not allowed to show you anything. So I was like, yeah, there's a new website and it's a big deal, but I cannot tell you why it's a big deal and I cannot show you anything. So here it's a bit of the same. Like at this point, a lot of you know what's going on with the global red boss, at least to some extent, and so being able to share some art style is definitely what I wanted to do there. Rodrigo, since you might be wondering what you've just seen and what was that, and for anyone that will watch the stream, that either is watching the stream now or will watch the replay and doesn't really know what we're talking about, just a summary: the global red boss is pretty much a regular red boss, except that the entire community can attack it, and there will be leaderboards for the players that are dealing the most damages to the boss, and there will be a leaderboard for the number of attempts as well. On the longer run, there will also most likely be leaderboards for clans within this event, and if we manage to defeat entirely this boss, which will have an insane HP bar, everyone will receive extra rewards regardless of the leaderboards. And the boss is going to be a brand new design that you've never seen before. And as you've seen from the statue, there are different heads, which means that, no, not little boards. Sorry, that's my French accent making it sound funny. But yeah, the interesting part is because this boss has 3 heads, there will be different phases, meaning if the event is lasting for 3 days, after we manage to reduce the health bar to a certain extent, then there will be a second phase with completely different patterns of attacks and different strategies that you need to put into motion, and then a third phase, etc. And the idea is just so that you don't feel like you're attacking the same boss over and over and over and over again for 3 days. Oh, don't worry, I knew it was a joke. I'm not taking that too seriously. I'm working in English every day of my life for the past 10 years now, but I know that my English at times is a bit bumpy. I think, and it's the same for every French person I've ever heard speaking English, the single most difficult part for us is when you have an H at the beginning of a word, because this silent but kind of pronounced H is something we don't have at all in my language. at all. So even if I've been speaking English for years and years and years, it's always tricky. Like if I need to tell you I hate you, I need really to focus on pronouncing hate and not just hate, because, well, that means I had a weird lunch. And anyway, that's still pretty much the way it is for every French people out there. If you're watching, we know the struggle. We know it's tough when there's a silent H at the beginning of a word in English. You're not alone. We all have to deal with this. Okay, guys, what else can we talk about? What? Oh, apparently we have an entire alliance joining us. Welcome to the Mushroom Alliance. It's funny that you arrive right when we say I hate you. Is there a connection between the fact that we just talked about eating and we have mushrooms jumping into the chat? I don't know. But yeah, in any case, that's what I wanted to mention to close it up on the topic of the global red boss. And the global red boss will come within the upcoming 2 to 3 weeks. Right now, the plan is to have the test version, the first test version, end of February or the very first days of March. This first version will be displayed as a beta version, just so that everyone is aware that this is, still work in progress. It's still gonna be, it's already gonna be something that works, and there shouldn't be any new element we add to the feature itself before it's out of the beta phase. Mostly the reason why we call it beta is because the balancing of this first global red boss might not be perfect. We need to see how far you guys and how hard you guys will go at it to be able to better balance it. But also because performance-wise, we made crazy tests, but we need the test on the full server to perfectly evaluate it. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. First beta version probably last days of February, early days of March. Hey Kitten, welcome. I see a few victories of mine. I'm quite happy about this because I barely touched anything this week. The main changes is that I properly updated the power stones. That's something I always forget to do when I change the army for those streams. And if I keep roughly the same army for the following stream, I always forget to update the power stones there. So this time around I did it. I hope it won't be too much of a problem for you guys and that it won't cause you too much issues. Okay, other than that, I know that some of you still brought up today in Discord the issues with the performance of the game in general. As you know, we have two Unity updates that are coming. The first one should already come next week, and the other one will be end of February. There's still some uncertainty as to when it comes, because there's also still the possibility as of now that we bundle the two of them and just jump right away to the latest Unity version. But that should be helping quite a bit. To give you some background, when we took over the game was 4 versions of Unity late. It's not to blame Traplight by any means, because you do not need to be on the latest version of Unity in general. Actually, a lot of games prefer to be a few versions below, because it's a bit like with Windows, when you install the brand new Windows version, really often that leads to some issues, right? And so you usually prefer to wait a bit until everyone tells you, okay, that's perfectly stable, now you can go. In this case, what happened is that we were forced to update to a newer Unity version because the version we were on was going to not be supported anymore. And when we did the update, we ended up with performance issues because the version we were on is a version that had some issues with a specific system that is used to show ads in particular, and that is causing quite some issues because it can also lead to freezes when you launch the game. So we basically had to wait until Unity released a new version with a patch for that and prepare for the update to it, which is what we've done so far. They released the first patch, which was like in October or something like this, and we were just preparing everything to jump to that when they finally released the second patch, which is fixing the remaining of those issues. And that's why we have 2 Unity updates planned. One of them is to solve most of those issues, and the second one should be fixing the remaining ones. That doesn't mean you will never see any performance issues in the game, because they can happen for many different reasons. But the main one that some of you guys have been suffering from for a fair bit should be quite positively impacted by those Unity updates. So I'm quite waiting now to see the impact and how it's going to look there. So, trying to see where we are right now. We already have 18 players and 18 players in. Narcissus is next. And I think I covered the main points of what is coming very soon. I'm trying to see. Yeah, we also have an update of the tool that we use to display ads, or the system that we use rather. It goes hand in hand with Unity as well to have the latest version there. In general, one rule that we try to apply is to be as much as we can up to date on all of those backgrounds elements. Again, different companies will decide to do it differently, but in our case, we prefer to do it this way. Matt Rema, are you asking if we have any progress on the clan trophy discrepancy issue? I actually brought that up to the team again this week. At the moment, we still don't know exactly what is causing it. We've been looking into different directions. So far, nothing really fully explained it. There's a few things we tested that showed some small discrepancies. The main one being that the 2 tables that are used are not using the same source. So that at the moment is still the case no matter what. So a certain amount of discrepancy will always be there until this is changed, but that means a bigger rework of the red boss, especially not the red boss, sorry, the leaderboards in general. And we will probably be looking into that when we introduce new leaderboards, the clan ones in the global red boss. Because if we include those leaderboards, first of all, we don't want to have any discrepancy in there, but also that means we will have an expertise on building those specific leaderboards for this specific game. We just duplicate those new leaderboards if we see that they have no issues there, and use them directly as well for the current ones. At the moment, that's the main point and the main element that I can share. Overall, what it seems is that when there are some movements within the clan, there's a bit of discrepancy that can add up from a season to another one, to another one, to another one. And when you have a clan that is among the first ones of the game, these discrepancies can end up being way bigger. But that's a really rough understanding, and that's not an actual fix to the issue. So hopefully we'll soon have some more details and more elements on that. Okay, guys, is there any other question I can answer to? Yeah, I know that you guys resolved it by moving to your to a new clan. The other possibility in your case, because again, most of the clans we've checked, the discrepancy was always really minimal. In your case, it was very big. I think the second biggest we found had like 400, so it's like already way lower than what you had. The other thing that is possible is that at one point you had an account that ended up being fully broken. Like, what I mean by this is an account that got corrupted, and because of that, there's this remaining in here, even though this player is not with you anymore. I can think of that because, you know, there's this case we have sometimes in the stream. There's this one account that is reported or added to the list from time to time that is broken, mostly because it's using a corrupted skin. And this account, anytime it shows up, it's basically breaking the game and you go into perpetual mode. And my feeling is that maybe at some point you add a player's account that ended up being corrupted, and even if you kicked him out, or even maybe he was not even in your clan anymore when this corruption happened, but because it was linked to your clan at a certain point, it glitched these leaderboards. That's one possible explanation. It's hard to tell because that basically means going back to years and years of data to find that potential corrupted account. So it's pretty complicated to find that, yeah. Sometimes you have cheater that will join the clan. Perhaps if they got banned, might have unintended consequences. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Like, if they were just banned, I don't think that would be a problem. But it depends what they did when we say cheated. Because if they really corrupted the game, then potentially that could be a reason. Ultimately, I believe that the real answer will come from changing the way the leaderboards are working. And already the first thing to do will be to have the leaderboards be using the same route, the same source for them to be displayed. That will already help. The thing is, for the last season one, it's always hard because we cannot really make it dynamic, you know, like it's the last season. And the problem is it should be properly adding up. Again, for me, the fact that there's different sources, it always leaves a tiny bit of margin for differences, but those differences should be very minimal. If you have like, 5 points, 10 points, I feel like it's just the way it is. It's not something you can always, you can get better, yeah. But when there's a difference like 5,000, there's definitely something wrong indeed. Yeah, you think that basically the boards will become less important as more of the events come out? Yes, to me that's also the reason why we want new events to come out. It's that, to me, it's a bit of a missed opportunity that the only thing clans can compete for is the season because it's not necessarily a team effort. Like, it's a team effort if you want to be number one and if you make it a goal, obviously, but there's not the same achievement feeling and satisfaction than if you really feel all throughout an event that you're fighting against another clan to be on top, and and you see the clans fighting up and down, etc. That's really what we want to see. It's it's motivating people to spend more time in the game. It's motivating people to invest a bit in the game as well. Let's be real, and it's overall it's gonna be a driver for the community, because we all like to brag and to show off when we're first. We all will be pissed if we end up second and it was a close call, and those kind of things are driving a community in general. Some games are not necessarily meant for these kind of things, but Battle Legion, and it's the reason why we acquired the game from the get-go, we could see that this was meant to have actual big social events, as we call them, so events with the entire clan being involved. That's for sure. And I can tell you that if we manage to pull out the concept that we're working on for the Clan Wars, which would be for the second half of the year, if we manage to release it the way it's being worked on right now, it would be a massive game changer. It would be really, really exciting for everyone. We still have to see what technical challenges we'll have to surpass, but yeah, I'm really hopeful that we can release it this way. That would be amazing. Because, so for those that don't know, what I like with the concept that we're working on mostly is that it's not only about a clan fighting another clan and players fighting other players' armies. It's also this idea that you build something together with your clan and that you defend a territory, like a domain or something, together. And that is something I love as well, because I believe that, if you think about it, a lot of players in this game love the skins that we release. Now imagine that you have a clan castle or something like this, and that you can win skins for that castle depending on your rankings in a specific event. That's a huge driver, because you will be like, hey, we want to be in the top 50 clans, because then we can unlock this amazing design. And others will be like, yeah, no, we are 48 right now. We want to keep, being in there. We can't afford to go down, etc. So I don't know. It's something I've seen in so many other games. There's so much excitement coming from these kind of events that I'm really excited. I cannot wait, not so much to play it myself. I mean, it will be fun, obviously, but I really cannot wait to see the reactions and how much you guys will be engaged with this kind of content once it can be released. That will be very, very, very fun to watch. I'm trying to see where we are. Doubter, yeah, okay. We have 15 players left. There should be a reward for achieving number one as a clan a certain number of times. That's something we want to be looking into. I would call it pretty much clans achievements. So it's not only this, it's clans achievements that we would like to have. And once we have several clans events, so once you have potentially a leaderboard in the global red bars for clans, once you have the clan wars, and if you add the leaderboards for the season, then you could potentially have enough material to trigger to have a list of achievements that are dedicated to clans, and that would be quite fun. And I'm talking about long-term achievements, right? Not small quests that you do with every season. Flamer, at the moment, we're looking for second half of the year. And I would say it's not gonna be before the end of the summer. So probably you're looking at probably starting September. That's when you can start to imagine the Clan Wars being released, most likely. But that's the one thing we have for the second half of the year. The one thing we want to work on. Because let's be real, for us as a company, it's as I was saying earlier, it's a game changer. It can potentially take this game into a completely different dimension, which means you can also have way more user acquisition. So that means getting way more players in, etc. So it can bubble up pretty quickly once you have that. That's why for us it will be a big challenge, but it will be something we'll heavily focus on when we get to that part. Okay, folks, do you have other questions? Because we have about 11 players left. So if you have questions, it's gonna be now, because in probably more or less 10 minutes, we will be done. So yeah, if you have questions, if you have topics that you want to discuss, let's go for it. Just as a reminder as well, we have a few other things we're working on outside of the Clan Wars. Some of them will be smaller events, like this merchant event that was mentioned earlier by Matt Remar. I know that you really want that, Matt Remar, and I can tell you that, yeah, it's still being worked on. And it's pretty much going to be an event popping up from time to time with a merchant that will offer you to exchange resources for something else. So that means maybe it will offer you to exchange artifacts, fragments for gold, or maybe it will offer you to exchange shards from one specific unit against power stones, or there will be various offers, and the idea is that there will be a bit of randomness. It's a bit like the good old offers you had in the Diablo game, where some of them will be super good, some of them will be not that great, and you will have to come back later to see a new offer. And that's something we are working on at the moment. Yeah, I know that the merchant is wanted. I know, and we're working on it. The one thing I want to warn everyone about is that this event, it's probably not going to be something that is there all the time. So when the merchant is there, you will have to make the best out of it. This means as well there will be a bit of frustration, because you will have some players that will tell you, hey man, the merchant was there for 48 hours and there were some good offers, but none that was focused on the resources that I wanted to swap. And that's just the way it is. Sometimes it will be super good and you will be like, hey, yeah man, I can exactly exchange what I want. But sometimes it won't. And that's something I want to make everyone realize, because it's not a trading system per se. It's not a system where at any given time you can trade resources and get what you want. It's a merchant system. There will be some luck involved, which means, well, probabilities basically, which means sometimes you will get lucky and sometimes you won't. So I prefer everyone to be aware of that and have that in mind. Yeah, what else? Well, as you guys know, we're working still on different types of ads to be added to the game. Again, I want to reiterate that the ads will never be enforced to you. So that means the ads will not be playing unless you want to. So some of the stuff we're looking at would be ads that allow you, for example, to skip the last amount of time remaining for a cart to be open, for example. One of the ones that was shared was to double the to double the rewards of the next fight, for example, or the fight that just happened. I don't know. Well, that should be of course that should be the fight that just happened, because otherwise that could be a loss, and who would like to double the rewards on the loss, right? So that would be the fight that happened just before. So there are a few things like this. Yeah. Matt Romar is saying that it reminds you of the traders in the from World of Warcraft in the garrisons. Yeah, that's it. You need to see the deals of the day. The idea is not to make deals that would be terrible anyway. At least I don't think so. But of course, every player will have different needs. So what could be super good for you might not be interesting for others as well. So that's what we'll be looking into for sure. And yeah, we have still 5 players to go. So any last question, any last elements? After that, I will go enjoy my Valentine's Day dinner. Monte Cristo, that's a really, really, really French nickname. So one thing that I did as well for this fight night was that I changed the battlefield. I tend to forget to change the battlefield. This one I picked it up solely because it's the one on which the units, given the artifact that we're using, are the most visible. And I felt like, at least on video, that should give some more clarity to the battles. Okay, we still have Thorin, Oakshield, we'll have Gamer after that, and Aita. So we have 3 players to go. And yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you, Matt Remar, to everyone actually, obviously, in the chat, or even people that are watching in replay. It doesn't matter if you spend the night with your loved one or if you're spending the night alone. It's still, it's as a friend of mine put it today, it's also a day to remind you that you're not alone, no matter what. And that is important. Maybe that's why we're all there in the stream, to remind each other that we're not alone. So my victory rate is actually okay this time around, so it's cool. I guess that the Power Stone upgrades with this build is helping a fair bit. Also, since we have 2 dragons on the screen, I just wanted to let you know as well that I passed on the feedback we received regarding the designs of the last skins, and yeah, hopefully you will see more of that purple lightning effect on the longer run. Will the recorded fight night happen at the same time tomorrow? Yes, as always, we will post the time quite soon, the exact time at which it will start. It's usually an hour earlier than the regular fight, so it will be, today started at 6 p.m. my time, so it should be 4 p.m. that we have the recorded fight night, but I will post that right after the stream, which technically is supposed to be right now. Oh, I stopped it too late. That's okay. There will be one final player getting crushed because no artifacts. I'm sorry, Lisam, I don't know who you are, but it's not going to be a long fight. Okay, yeah, so that basically does it for today. Just before we leave, I will remind you of the key thing for the day, because the one thing you all cared about was what we shared with you guys there. So as a reminder, those are some of the assets you can expect from the upcoming global red boss that will come. at the end of the month or early next month, end of February, very early March. That's what we're looking at right now. And that's pretty much it for today. So again, guys, I'm just gonna grant you all your rewards right away. There you go. All the rewards should have been sent. And yeah, again, I'd like to thank every single one of you for joining on the stream today. We had quite a bit of talk going on. I hope that you really enjoyed those designs that we shared with you and that I'm showing you guys one more time. We'll talk to each other very soon, and for now, that will be it for today. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and we'll see each other in 2 weeks. Bye!